Yo, what is going on, everybody? I didn't think I'd be going live again today, but this came across my computer screen while I was killing some time trying to get my practice labs for my cybersecurity course to work. And it looks like it's out for the count for today. So I thought I'd jump back on and do another video on this. Now, guys, you know how we always hear this argument whenever we bring up a case of post-wall 30-something-year-old individual who has decided to, how should we say, have relations with a 14-year-old or something to that effect. Well, let me tell you that this is not an isolated thing. All I had to do was just put a couple of search terms in with the number 14, and I came up with an absolute waterfall of cases. I'm going to give just a few of the many that I found because otherwise this video is going to go for an hour. But let me jump straight into this. So we must have all heard by now, surely, I hope, of the case of Tia Vincent, 32-year-old, who, and I quote, invited two 14-year-olds back to her home in Wollaston. I'm going to bring up this article here. Check this out, right? Mother 32, so she's already got kids. She's a single mother. Nothing wrong with being a single mother. It's just not for me. Mother 32 lured boy 14 back to her house to have relations with him after watching him and a friend play football in the park. So she invited the two 14-year-olds back. She had relations with one of the boys after he allegedly told her he was at school. Right, so first red flag, right? He's gone, well, I'm at school, right? I'm a school-age student. Now, I don't know about you, but look, if it was my thing to pick up school-aged girls, which it's not, if it was though, the first thing I'd be doing is saying, oh, what year are you in? Because straight away when I hear year 9 or year 10, that's a red flag. That's like a bullet dodge right there. Right, so if you're going to be the type of person who goes to a school, who insists, who goes to these people and says, oh, you know, you're at school, right? Oh, cool. You look old enough to not be illegal. For goodness sake, people, ladies, men, whoever's going to do this, if that's your thing and you insist on approaching school kids, ask them what their freaking age is, for goodness sake. Don't make presumptions. Oh my God. I think I need a beer. So Bachelor 101, you're one step ahead of the game, says, put this towards a flight to NZ. Beers on me. What a guy. What a guy. I want to get over to NZ this year, next year, actually, very early. I like NZ a lot. I've been to Auckland. Would love to see more of it. So this mother lured two teenage boys half her age to her home and had sex with them. Oh, there, I said it. I always slip up. Despite them telling the victim he was all still at school. She took one of the boys up to the bedroom and initiated relations with him. A jury at Gloucester Crown Court was told yesterday, mother of three who has 3 children of primary school age admits having relations with the boy, but maintains she believed he was over 16 at the time. She believed. Prosecutor Christopher Smythe told the jury that Vincent offered the boys a glass of water back at her home. Oh, how kind of her. I'm glad it wasn't alcohol, although it wouldn't surprise me, after they spent the afternoon playing football at the Memorial Hall near her home. This is these Instagram pictures, little muffin top going on here. He said, the boys took up Ms. Vincent's offer and went back to her home. One of the boys knew Vincent, but the alleged victim didn't. So this is the thing, right? She knows one of the boys. So she knows that he's not over 16, which means that if they're both friends, like, doesn't it kind of, kids tend to stick around the same age group when they're at school. So doesn't it stand to reason that there's a high chance, a very high chance, she knows one boy that is not over 16, that the other boy is likely not going to be over 16. I mean, the law of probabilities would dictate this. But anyway, he told, they sat down at the kitchen table. Ms. Vincent said she thought she knew one of them and said to him that she understood he had a child on the way. He told her he was only 14 and still at school. So he told her. The three of them only talked about school life for some time before the subject was changed to Vincent talking about her body and then relations. She covered up quickly and put clothes on as quickly as she could. She then moved the conversation to relations. The slightly older boy felt that Ms. Vincent was coming on to the younger one. Oh, wow. But he felt that the situation was lost on him. She then invited the younger boy upstairs. He went up there thinking there would be a television or some other gaming device while his friend remained downstairs. She then took the boy into the bedroom, told him to sit on the bed. She left the room, reappeared a few moments later, having removed her clothes. No gaming machines, might I add. She pulled him back onto the bed so he was laying down. The court heard Vincent then climbed on top of the teenager and initiated relations without talking to him about it first. Oh, so no consent then. Non-consensual. Womanists love to talk about consent until it's one of their own that's not taking consent from the other. The victim described Vincent bouncing up and down on him for around 5 minutes. The prosecutor said he says there was no discussion at all. The boy had a strong feeling the situation was not right. Yeah, well, gee, I wonder why. He knew he was underage and there was a big age gap. In the end, he pushed her off, got dressed, and fled downstairs. The victim's friend said he'd heard relational sounds coming down the stairs. He felt awkward and he left the house for a short while before returning. He said that his friend had been an idiot. And perhaps he had, but you don't expect that to happen to you when you're 14 years old. Here's the fun bit. The boys then told a friend of theirs who advised that the victim report the incident to the family. Mrs. Smythe told the court another mutual friend of the boys, a girl, said the victim had been an absolute idiot and she advised him to tell his parents. And this is where what I talk about all the time, the lack of accountability, the lack of responsibility, the putting the blame back onto a guy and not taking any personal accountability as a woman comes into the place. And I see this so often all the time. Check this out. 3 days later, the girl with 2 others went round to see the victim and his mother. They told her what had gone on. The mother then went to see Vincent at her home address. When Vincent opened the door, the mother said, "What the hell is this I hear about you having relations with a 14-year-old? That's my son." Ms. Vincent said, "Not now. I have my daughter with me," and shut the door in the mother's face. Not now. Don't. I guarantee you, if it was a 30-something-year-old dude that had gone and had relations with her 14-year-old daughter, the same one she's protecting from an argument right now, apparently, the same one she's using as a scapegoat, as a dodge, as a firewall to shield herself from having to have this awkward conversation. If it was Tia Vincent, she would be screaming down the house at the boy's mother's house. So is this not a double standard or what? The victim said that Vincent was swearing at his mother. I can't. Swearing at the mother of the 14-year-old child who's just been on the recipient of a particular type of fruit called a grapefruit. The father of the victim's friend also went around to see Vincent to warn her off seeing the young boys in the village. But he was then threatened by another man in his own home the following day. So Tia Vincent has sent someone over to this guy's house, right? To the older kid's friend. So that the older kid who was downstairs listening to the younger kid upstairs, his father went to this woman's house and then got threatened because he tried to hold her accountable and tell her to stay away from 2 14-year-old boys. Are you kidding me? Can you imagine, just for 1 second, if a woman came around to a father's house and said, "Stay away from my sons," right? Or stay away from my daughters even. And then that guy sent a man around to the woman's house to threaten her the next day. Can you imagine the uproar? Every single mainstream media newspaper, all over the TV, it'd be on The Project, it'd be on Sunrise, it'd be on CNN, it'd be on MSNBC, it'd be on NPC News, it'd be on every single news station all across the Western world. Oppression, men, power and control, women, blah, 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 blah. Like, I just have I'm so numb to that shit now because it's such a double standard all the time. And you want to rant and rave about this crap, but you don't want to take any accountability when it's on the other foot. Anyway, I'll continue. The boy opened the window and was warned that if his father or elder brother ever went to the defendant's house again, I will stab them in the jaw. He then left without saying any more. So this was Wow. So this guy's been approaching these kids and threatening them. These kids are both being threatened over something that was done to them by someone who should have known better. Freaking unbelievable, man. This is crazy shit. And look, yeah, I could waffle on and waffle on. I'm not going to waffle on anymore on this article because I want to show you the progression of articles as it's followed this stuff. So we've gone from headline A, mother 32 lured boy 14 back to her house to have relations after watching him and a friend play football in the park. And by the way, have relations with him on the first time she met him ever. 2, UK mum who had relations with boy says he lied about his age. Oh, now it's an accountability dodge. She was angry at him for pretending to be older than he was. So now she's hurt and upset and angry because he lied to her. The person who was victimized by her lied to her about how old. If he hadn't lied to her about how old he was, then she wouldn't have taken him upstairs and had relations with him without his consent. I don't deny we did it. I didn't force him. He happily responded on his own accord. Right? She told hearing of the boy who told investigators that she suddenly appeared with no clothes on and mounted him when he had just expected to play video games. I'm sure he told me he was 16. Oh, you're sure, are you? So he didn't actually tell you. You're just sure that he did. That was how your memory serves you. Of course, your memory serves you in that way. Because if your memory serves you correctly, you didn't do anything wrong, did you? Get the hell out of here, man. And I'm sure he told me he was 16. This is her words, by the way. I'm sure he told me he was 16. And I felt he looked much older. Oh, you felt, did you? Oh, well, since your feelings told you something that was wrong, then that must be right. I'm sorry, ma'am. Sorry for wasting your time. Sorry for trying to hold you accountable for having a particular type of fruit with a 14-year-old. Oh my God. And then sending people over there, basically henchmen, to scare these boys into submission. For all of this talk from womanists about power and control, she seems to be exerting an awful lot of power and control over a 14-year-old and his friend. It didn't occur to me that he might be underage. He definitely didn't tell me he was only 14 before we had relations. It didn't occur to you that he might be underage. It didn't occur to you that a kid who looks 14 years old could potentially be underage. Wow. Absolutely wow. He told the court it was only after relations that the boy panicked and revealed his real age. She said, there was a discussion about school and it was only then that I realized his actual age. The discussion about school should have been the red flag to begin with. You know, the one that you were having before you took the kid you only just met upstairs? Oh, if I'm angry with myself and I'm angry with them for lying about their ages, she said to the boy and his pal. So because you feel bad about it, then we should let you off the hook. And because he lied about it, we should let you off the hook. That's what you're really saying. That's what she's trying to tell you here. If I'd known the truth at the time, I wouldn't be here in court now. Well, how about you ask the kid instead of jumping to assumptions about a school kid? She broke down when mention was made of child services becoming involved with her own 3 kids. Oh, now that she might be held accountable and now that her children might have to go back to the father and she loses her source of extra income, now she's upset. Now she's crying. Now she broke down. Unbelievable. Prosecutors previously maintained that the boy discussed his true age and being at school with the mum before she took him up to her bed. I would tend to believe that. So first, this is the chain of events. Secondly, she's trying to dodge all accountability in every single way imaginable. Stage 3. She got the P pass. She got the V pass. Cleared of charges after having relations with this boy. Even after all of that, would a guy get cleared of charges? Hell no, he wouldn't get cleared of charges. She admitted to having relations after watching him play soccer, but says he looked much older and didn't occur that he might be underage. See, classic accountability dodge. There we go. Selfies. You know, I guarantee her whole entire look. You can tell she's got some issues. I'm not going to deny she's got some issues. Clearly. But I mean, you just can't use these kind of excuses. Oh, he didn't tell me he was in year 9. He was only 14. Oh, yes, I went into that person's house that I'd never been into before without their permission. But, they didn't tell me that that PlayStation and that 24 karat gold chain belonged to them or that they paid for it. They didn't tell me. I just took it. I thought it was okay because I didn't know it was theirs and I didn't know that it cost them a lot of money. This is the kind of logic that she's using. She went and took something off someone that wasn't hers without asking any questions. And it's as simple as that. It is point blank as simple as that. K to the Swiss, thank you for that super chat. Says, keep proclaiming the truth, brother. I will. And the truth gets better, K to the Swiss. The truth gets better. Do you know why? Because with all of this negative media coverage she's got, she was complaining about how her life is now ruined and people are now looking at her differently. So what does she plan to do to resolve this situation? Well, what else would someone who's just done this to a 14-year-old boy do? Start an OnlyFans account. My God. She said on Instagram she is considering selling racy content on OnlyFans. And look, I wanted to try and verify this for myself because I don't like coming up with stories that I can't verify. I have requested access to her Instagram, but I was like, I have to get in on this. She's got 22,500 followers. She knows she's going to make bank off OnlyFans. Oh, there is a God. Why? Because it gave you OnlyFans when you ruined your career because you slept with someone like freaking half your age? Oh, my God. And look, if you're 36 and they're 18, cool, whatever floats your boat. You're both hot olds, do your thing. But the dude's 14. You knew he was 14. And even if you didn't know, you didn't want to know, because if you knew, then you wouldn't be able to do it and be able to use that as plausible deniability. Donovan Sharp, and shout out to Donovan Sharp, by the way, did an absolutely fantastic video. And I'm actually going to bring this video up just really quickly. I'm not going to play through it. I just want to share this with you because I want you to watch this one as well. What Donovan is saying is 100% correct. He is so on the money. It is absolutely astonishing. Let me just pull this video up quickly. And thank you for doing this one the other day, Donovan. It was a really, really good video. And this is it here. You guys can check this out. It's called Two Insidious Ways They Lie to Us. You can now get one of these in separate volumes. Get volumes 1, 2, or... So it's just playing through. I'll quickly play this. And also, by the way, this womanese that Donovan does, I hear some people complaining about womanese. And some of you might not be your thing. But guys, the most important thing to understand about women is what they mean when they say certain things. When you work that out, you'll be able to work them out so quickly. And that's why I think womanese is so valuable. I've never advertised this for Donovan. I don't get any commission from this. He hasn't asked me to mention it. Nothing. Nobody's even said you should promote it. I just wanted to touch on that because, I see a lot of value in the womanese, and I have seen some of the content, and it is fantastic.
You can now get womanese in separate volumes. Get volumes 1, 2, or 3 at your convenience, and get a $297 credit for each.
Strategies that women use the most when lying to their boyfriends or husbands. Here's one. Quote, I confessed, but at least I was honest.
That's all I'm going to play. I really want you guys to go check out that video. Give it a thumbs up. Two Insidious Ways They Lie to Us, Donovan Sharp. But and look, I'm not going to say that guys don't do this too sometimes, right? People try to avoid saying too much if they think that they're going to get in more trouble than they need to be in, right? So I'm not going to deny that that's the case. But, particularly if you guys who are trying to understand women better, this is something that you really need to know. Typically speaking, guys can kind of pick up the BS from other guys because we are guys and we know how guys work, but a lot of us don't know how girls work. And this is a really good example. But look, I'm gonna jump off that and go back to this. So she's basically wanting to start an OnlyFans account because she's moaned of her pooey 2-year nightmares considering selling racy photos and videos. She told her followers, I'm thinking about doing an OnlyFans. People already hate me, so not much to lose. Well, she's got a point. She subsequently wrote on Instagram about her being not guilty, that she made poor judgment and that the case ruined lives. The mother told the Sun online she was embarrassed by her actions. Of course you were embarrassed. Of course you were. Anyone who's going to go through this, something like this, is going to be embarrassed, but you got to take responsibility for your actions when you do something this serious, right? Look, if she'd picked up a guy who was like 18 or 7, even if the dude was 16 and he knew what she was doing and she asked, hey, can we go upstairs? Look, still a little bit questionable, but you can kind of go, well, look, they're both human beings. They both consented to it. They both knew what they were in for. What can you do, right? But that's not the situation here. I can see why people think what happened was wrong, but it didn't break any law. Well, you actually did break a law. You had relations with a 14-year-old. That's breaking the law. I was cleared by the court, but there will always be people who see you as a relations offender. Well, that's because by letter of the law, that's what you are based on the facts at hand. And she's been abused on. Look, anyone who goes through a bit of a shit show is going to get abused on social media. Just get off social media if you're on the receiving end of something like this. Anyway, her mum said the daughter had been left devastated. Understandably, it's wrecked. Her daughter is going to take a long time to get over. Like, I get it. Not excusing what she did, but I get it. She's worried that people will consider her as a relational offender, even though she was cleared. Well, that's because you are technically that. Just because you didn't get registered as that doesn't mean that's not what happened. Let's just talk in facts here. She was so relieved at the verdict that she took a photo of her daughter with a friend outside the court. Not guilty. Well, no, you are guilty. You just were found not guilty because you put forward a really convincing lie about what transpired. And you put forward a good dodge. Chris Smythe told the jury that during the hearing, many issues were raised about the victim's Facebook profile, which needed investigating. He showed a screenshot image giving the alleged victim's profile and his date of birth as 2000, making him appear much older. The youth also was recalled to the victim witness box and explained that he had entered the false date of birth after being given a new phone for his 13th birthday. Yeah, but you didn't look at the Facebook account before you took him upside, did you, Tia? Anyway, look, enough about that. I mean, we've just seen how this progression's fold out, and it's an absolute circus. But, I mentioned at the start how I'm seeing this stuff happening over and over and over and again. Countless cases of older women with 14-year-old kids. So when I say countless, what do I mean by that? Bachelor 101's dropped a super chat for as an advance towards his OnlyFans subscription. So here, all of these tabs across the top, bar the first 5, are different stories of 14-year-olds who have been taken advantage of by people much older than them, or old enough over their age to not be okay. So let's start. Really, Yahoo? You're going to give me an ad straight off the bat? Come on, dude. Incredibly disturbing. Californian woman allegedly abused 2 14-year-olds and gave them drugs. So that's Amalia Marie Utz. And guys, I know sometimes you can have multiple articles on a particular person from different outlets. So I actually went through and made sure that there were no double ups on names. And these are all unique individuals. So we're up to 2 boys. She's 47 years old, was charged with lewd and lascivious acts with a minor and oral copulation with a minor under 16. Okay. Next one. Teacher with an STI had relations with a boy, 14, until her own children busted her, 45 years old. Aggravated relations, endangering the welfare of a child, witness tampering, and having relations while she had a venereal disease without the informed consent of the alleged victim. That's 3 14-year-olds, including one with a VD now. And by the way, it was her student over a period of 15 months. She's a substitute teacher. And the children who were 13 and 14 confronted their mother and told her they were disgusted by her relationship with a minor. Right. Her own kids confronted their mum. Good kids. Good kids. At least they're switched on. Let's move on. Sophie Johnson, 22, was communicating online with a 14-year-old. The Newcastle Crown Court ignored repeated warnings about the youngster's age. She admitted having sexual contact with the boy over the period of a few days. She got a 3-year community order. Hey, at least she got some punishment, right? Oh, there was genuine affection between the pair. 4. Mother 33 who had relations with a boy 14 after a teenager's birthday party is cleared of child relations crimes because she thought he was 18 or 19. Oh, they always thought they were younger. You got to ask this stuff. Come on, man. It's a birthday party. It's a birthday party. Like, do you not know who the friends are? Whatever. So yeah, she claimed she believed the boy she met was over 18. Didn't ask, but he was 14. She got drunk, had half a bottle of vodka, half a bottle of liqueur, and said, "Aren't you going to F me?" Wow. When the boy's mother reported the incident to the police months later, she was arrested and charged with 2 counts of activity with a child. 5. Here we go. What she did was to have relations with the boy who was then 14 in 2 different ways. Anyway, let's continue. So, yeah, so I'll just touch on this. She went over and sat next to him and in pretty short order got under the blanket and started to touch him. Oh, without consent, I note. Without consent. And she wasn't wearing any pants. She unzipped my jeans. Why wasn't she wearing any pants? This was premeditated. She already knew exactly what she was going to do before she even went over there. She'd decided that she was going to do something to him with or without consent. Let's go to the next one. Married teacher 29 who performed oral on 14-year-old boys allowed back in the classroom. Back in the classroom. So she's married to a sheriff's deputy, has pleaded guilty, but will not be stripped of her teaching license. Of course not. Of course. 10 years of probation. Of course. Pleading with the judge not to ban her, her lawyer said there's a possibility that she could teach adults now or in the future, and we want to preserve that possibility. Oh, you're so kind and considerate, Judge. 6. Jamie Garrett had relations with a 14-year-old boy after giving him the anti-anxiety drug Xanax. She's been incarcerated. Good. 7. Jamie Garrett slipped the youngster a tablet before engaging in a variety of acts with him. The offenses took place when Garrett, then age 22, had been drinking, smoking cannabis, and taking Xanax herself. Oh, my goodness. Holidaymaker 59, accused of having relations with a 14-year-old boy on an Ibiza balcony, is cleared of all charges. Of course, she got cleared of all charges. She probably cried and sobbed in front of the jury, in front of the judge. Oh, I didn't mean it. I thought he was 18. Get out of here. Gail Dickinson of Glen Rothes, thief, was charged after the schoolboy's grandmother claimed she saw them having relations on a balcony at an apartment in San Antonio in June. But on the second day of her trial at Dunfermline Sheriff Court, she said he gave her a grapefruit and the jury cleared her of all charges. Oh, because she said that he did something to her as a 14-year-old and he overpowered her as a 59-year-old while he's 14, that she shouldn't be held accountable for anything. Jurors returned a not proven verdict on the charges of engaging and instigating sexual activity and not guilty on 2 related charges. She smiled as she left the court this afternoon, telling reporters, "Justice has been served." Yeah. What you mean by justice is a V-pass. The boy's relatives were visibly upset. One woman looked at Dickinson and shook her head, saying, "So wrong," as Dickinson continued to cry. Look at this one. So she was continuing to cry, and the woman who was scolding her while she cried said, "You know what you did." It happened right out of the blue. I couldn't believe how fast it happened. I just remember him pushing his thing into my mouth. So were you down on your knees? Because I'm pretty sure that I don't know any 14-year-olds who stand 8 foot tall to be able to get up because you don't look short. You're not a short woman. You're a relatively tall woman. You're at least 5.5, 6 foot. So this dude's going to have to be about 12 feet tall at the age of 14 for him to just shove it in there without you noticing. Come on, man. This is a joke. So what do I have to now? We're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Really? Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow. We're up to 9 already. And we've still got a handful to go. Yesterday, the court was told that during the holiday, the grandmother heard Mrs. Dickinson, this lady here, the one that had the relations, telling him, "You've got a lovely package there." Really? Really? Lovely package, huh? Wow. She said that she had split up the pair when she found them in the living room and her grandson was partially naked and clearly aroused. She then told him to go to bed, but later heard whispering from the balcony. When she looked in through a gap in the curtains, she saw the gauge to having relations. Dickinson was making demands and the boy was following it like a robot. It was a horrible situation. I couldn't believe it, she said. She was too shocked to intervene, adding, "I didn't want a rumpus to start." And it's like, too late now, right? So this lady gets away with it scot-free. Just gets off. No worries. No punishment, no accountability. Just, it's okay. You cried. Good job. Unbelievable. Let's go to number 10. Female teacher groomed boy. The then 26-year-old Hunter Valley individual befriended him over social media before exchanging explicit images and kissing him in a classroom and a park. Right? A New South Wales teacher had a desire for male attention. Just one teacher? Like, I don't know a straight woman who doesn't have a desire for male attention. Come on. This is just hyperbole at this point. It's ridiculous. The now former teacher previously pleaded guilty to grooming a child for unlawful activity, indecently assaulting a person under 16, and intentionally touching a minor aged between 10 and 16. 11, shall we go? A female, that word, look closely. Thank goodness they put it there. Filmed herself doing that word, look again closely, to a 14-year-old boy, then made the youngster sell drugs and fraternize with gangsters, police said, at the age of 14. She recorded the illegal encounters, then forced the child, who is now 15, to sell narcotics on her behalf and exposed him to gang activity. It is unclear whether Karazana used those alleged videos as blackmail to get the child to do her bidding. A Florida judge sentenced a former middle school teacher to 36 months in prison for having relations with a 14-year-old student after the boy's mother testified that she is a shell of her old self and is constantly teased by his classmates over the ordeal. 12. And see, this is the thing, right? Some people say, "Oh, he's so lucky, she's hot." Well, whether you think she's hot or not, this is the reality for a lot of kids. The son, who is now in 9th grade, has become withdrawn and is largely unrecognizable since the encounters that occurred in Peterson's car, as well as encounters in her home and in a barn behind his house last January. He's no longer the funny, vibrant, light-hearted child we knew, she testified. He is now untrustworthy of new people and even new old friends. He's angry most days. He doesn't understand his new personality, but can't find his old self either. He said the teen's been struggling to make friends and is often teased in school due to the assaults, with one student calling him a teacher effer and another asking him how his teacher tasted. It's heartbreaking. And it is heartbreaking. You know, and this is what guys are basically having happen to them. And it's horrific, to be completely honest with you. So, you know, what do I even do from here? So that's 12. Next one. California mum, 41, will avoid jail for having relations with both of her teenage. Wait, hang on. Oh, yeah, okay. So both of her teenage daughters' boyfriends. So obviously she's got 2 teenage daughters. Both have got boyfriends, and they're aged 14 and 15 respectively. And I'm guessing there's no father in the picture for these young girls. Just a hunch. California mom plied them with alcohol and cigars. Will avoid a jail term. Of course she will. She seduced both boys aged 14 and 15 in the fall. One of the victims said they had relations with the predator 3 times. And she was charged with 21 felony counts and faced a lengthy prison sentence. So that's 14, I think. Close enough. Yeah, so I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's 13. That's 13. So, guys, any womanist who ever comes around and tells you that there is no evidence that there is an epidemic of older women and teachers taking advantage of young children, just send them this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And if you haven't been getting my notifications and you are already subscribed, consider going back and resubscribing and hitting the all button to make sure you get notification for every single video. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And shout out to the 2 individuals who sent me a little super chat, a little PayPal after the last video. I appreciate it as much as I appreciate those who always super chat, including you, Dragon of Blue Productions. Says, of course, because of wild men, you'll need a stiff drink after this article. Get a strong one on me. Thank you to you, and thank you to Bachelor 101, and thank you to the other individual who dropped a super chat in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Catch you in the next video, and I will see you next time. Peace.